my next question is related to that then here, Tony. So how do you think we can keep and even attract new businesses here in California?
How are we able to attract businesses to California?
Yes.
Well, I think you can give some incentives. I think you can encourage people to set up business. They're creating jobs. Look at what we do with, there's a program that you can attract someone from China if they have $1 million in investment. You even make them citizens. I don't think that's necessarily fair to do something like that. But I think that what you do as far as businesses, don't overburden them with taxes. Give them an incentive to come here. That incentive alone would be worth it for people to come here. I think you can sell the climate. California is a great state. I mean, we have a lot to offer. We have a lot of, even the word diversity has become almost a bad word, but we do have a lot of, we have mountains, we have rivers, we have the oceans, we have, a lot of things about California is great. The weather's great. Mm-hmm. And to locate here, if it weren't for the tax burdens, more companies would come here. And I think that's what we're going to have to attack, is the taxes. And so have people come and create jobs here, understanding that they have there's a big labor capital that is here. But we've got to quit over-regulating. One of our most valuable things in California are the farms. It's estimated that by the year 2050, we're going to need 70% more food products. We're the leader in all of the United States in California in agriculture alone. And
right.
We're one of the leaders in the world in producing things. And yet the people who produce for us are the ones that are shrinking these farms because of the regulations on them. And I think that, I hate to overuse that term, but it's these rules and regulations and the taxes that are hurting small businesses. And that's what we have to eliminate to encourage people to come here. And it also affects big companies also. So I am fiscally conservative. I'm pro-business. And I think that's the way to recovery. And I think that we have to also encourage government to eliminate impediments towards business. When you talk about the AB 32 and trying to return back to 1990 levels, not taking into consideration population increases, when you're talking about these carbon credits and being able to have a bureaucracy, you're able to buy credits and things like that because you're trying to control the carbon monoxide in the air. The power that they have is unbelievable. And if you think about how they retrofitted all the trucks in California, now we have these folks that invested a lot of money, but yet the rest of the United States hasn't done that. And so what do you do now? Everybody in the nation can just bypass California. You can open up a big dock. The Chinese have opened up a huge port in Mexico, and they'll just drive across Texas and bypass California because of the ridiculous rules that we've imposed on businesses and trucking companies. We're going to have a lot of dairies that are going to go out of business and farmers because of the drought and at a national level imposed, and they're taking a certain amount of corn to create ethanol, and yet we're having the need for corn for dairy cows and things like that. And we regulate the price of milk, but we don't regulate the price of food for those animals. And so there's an imbalance, and we've got to let the farm workers say, look, this is the reason we're failing. This is why we're going to lose farms, because of this and this and that. And so you got to go to the people and ask them, how can we help you? How can we encourage business or encourage people to come here? I don't think that's done enough.
Definitely. No, I agree completely. I think that, it sounds like you're really open to listening to everybody, which is great, because that's what it really comes down to is, are you going to listen to the people and what they want, what they need? And, yeah, you're right. The power that's here in California is way over excessive. We got way too much in the hands of these bureaucrats, and it's destroying California. I hope our audience is listening to this and really understanding the seriousness of this conversation, because it's very true. It could get a lot worse than it already is now. So, yeah. And all right, so Tony, being that you've been in law enforcement for most of your career, how do you feel about our current governor wanting to release tons of convicts to ease the California budget crisis?
I have put in writing how I feel about that, and I don't want the listening audience to think that I'm just a cop that's running for office. I will tell you that I have a law degree. I have a small business too, Amador and Associates Realty. It's understanding over regulations when I talk about regulations and every license you have to do, and so I like to think I'm more than a law enforcement person, but I do have an extensive law enforcement, LAPD, 13 years, U.S. Marshal, Director of the Youth Authority, and Chairman of the Youthful Offender Parole Board, and on the Narcotic Addict Evaluation Authority. So when the governor decided to release these so-called nonviolent offenders down to he called it realignment is the term they use, into the counties, that is a meat-axe approach to trying to cut the budget as far as the criminal justice system, as far as corrections. That's not the way to do it. It has already been proven that some of these, there are cases of these so-called nonviolent offenders already committing violent offenses. We have the counties that are overburdened that are kicking these prisoners out within a day. Even the county that I live in, San Joaquin County, they are so overcrowded that people aren't even serving their time. You have state parole agents who will have someone commit a crime, recommit a crime, and they will violate them. They'll take them to the county jail, and they'll be turned out within a day. And so that's not the way. Our number one responsibility as far as government, and I've got to remind you, if I've not said so already, that I'm not running against government. Government is not a four-letter word, but I'm running against bad governance and lack of leadership at the state level. That's what I'm running. And I'm not running to beat up state employees, because government has some necessary functions. And those necessary functions begin with the education system, and they also begin with the public safety. And releasing prisoners out there wholesale is not the way to protect the public. I think that's a prime responsibility of the government. And so that worm is going to turn on us. We're going to end up having someone hurt if they're not already hurt. We had one incident where there was a parolee who was supposed to be nonviolent in the city of Galt, who came out and ended up getting shot because he had a hammer. He was attacking someone. He was burglarizing a business. Now, if that's a nonviolent offender, I think the description has to be redone. So I'm opposed to that. I'm opposed to eliminating the death penalty, and I think the wholesale release of prisoners out into the populace is a dangerous way to solve our budgetary issues.